U.S. asks Israel for explanation of strike on Gaza refugee camp.
Here's a summary of the article.
The U.S. asked for an explanation of the first attack on Jabalia, said the official, adding that the conversation was in the context of asking Israel to do more to avoid civilian casualties. From the beginning of the conflict, the U.S. has asked questions of Israel about their goals and how to achieve them, and urged them to avoid harming civilians, the official stressed. Pentagon officials have asked the Israel Defense Forces specifically about the Israeli bombardment of the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza on Tuesday, an Israeli official said, adding that Israel puts a lot of effort into ensuring civilians are out of harm's way. More than 9,000 Palestinians have been killed since Israel responded to Hamas' October 7 attack, per the Hamas-led Gaza Health Ministry, nearly 4,000 of them children. Secretary of State Antony Blinken told reporters in Israel Friday that during a meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu he had urged Israel to pursue a pause in the fighting, and gave advice about reducing civilian casualties. Before Israel's ground operation into Gaza, the Biden administration had been urging Israel to conduct a more surgical operation instead of a full-scale invasion due to the high potential for both civilian and IDF casualties, said the first U.S. official. Senator Chris Murphy, who leads the Senate Foreign Relations Committee's Middle East panel, said Thursday the civilian death toll in Gaza was unacceptable and unsustainable, calling on Israel to switch to a counter-terrorism campaign.
This post received a score of 6,600, with an upvote ratio of 90%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Probably gonna ask about the ambulance in Gaza City too.
What ambulance? What happened?
I think they might need to be more specific. Israel has struck locations in the neighborhood they call Jabalia refugee camp a half-dozen times since this began. They also launched a ground offensive with infantry and tanks and captured what the IDF described as a Hamas stronghold described as being in western Jabalia. What I'm guessing was the western edge near the IDF foothold.
It's because it's more of a city. Refugee camp is not an accurate representation of what it was. Most Palestinians see themselves as refugees.
Exactly. They are refugees because their grandparents were in their camp is town now, but UN says it's refugee camp.
I feel like it was established as a refugee camp, but the people have been forced to live there so long the refugees' grandchild still live there and they've built permanent infrastructure. Isn't the own some people think it is?
Yeah, seriously. Like people are really in here basically saying, well technically they bombed a bunch of people in buildings instead people in tents? As if that makes it better somehow.
As with 99% of comments on this anywhere, it just demonstrates their bias and ignorance.
Israel's response, __.
We're sorry, BP CEO from South Park.
No, they wouldn't say this. They will just say deal with it and give me more weapons.
IDF, those ducks deserved it.
Greater than the House member added Democrats are preliminarily discussing measures to penalize Israel should it not change course, such as actual enforcement of existing human rights vetting. I assume that the administration is using an anonymous Democrat member of Congress to say out loud things it doesn't yet want to say as official U.S. policy. It's a direct accusation that Israel is not currently actually enforcing existing human rights vetting, whatever that means.
Existing human rights vetting equals Leahy law. Can't give aid to foreign forces when there is credible information of gross violation of human rights. They're implying that they're going to review IDF's existing status and determine if they're able to be recipients of aid based on more recent events. The U.S. is saying, if you guys keep this up we might walk away and leave you to deal with all of this alone.
Never going to happen.
Bush Sr. made that threat out in the open. That if Israel didn't negotiate with the Palestinians and stop the settlements that we wouldn't guarantee its loans anymore, which is a huge part of our aid scheme. Clinton came in and saved the day? On that one, campaigning that the Republicans were abandoning our Israeli allies.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.